Nobody invented the dog. No human tribe sat in a cave one afternoon and said, "You know what we need? A smaller, friendlier wolf that fetches things and sleeps on our feet." It did not happen like that. What actually happened was messier, stranger, and completely unplanned. And it started not with humans choosing wolves, but with wolves choosing us. For most of human history, a wolf in the dark was not a companion. It was a reason to keep the fire burning. You were small, you were slow, you could not see past the edge of the firelight, and out there in the dark, something with better eyes, better ears, and better teeth than you was already awake and already watching. Tonight, that same animal is probably asleep on your couch. What happened between then and now is one of the most extraordinary accidents in the history of life on Earth, and it started with scraps. Section 2. The world that made it possible. To understand how humans accidentally created dogs, you have to go back to the world that made it possible. Between 20,000 and 40,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in small roaming bands, maybe 20 to 50 people, moving constantly across enormous landscapes. No walls, no permanent shelter, no farming. Just humans, fire, and everything trying to kill them. Winter killed people who were not old, not sick, just unlucky. A broken bone could be a death sentence. Most hunts failed. And at the edge of every camp, just outside the reach of the firelight, wolves waited. Not because they wanted humans, because humans were the best free meal in the landscape. Here is something your ancestors never thought about, but that changed the course of history. Humans are catastrophically messy eaters. Even in starvation, hunter-gatherers left behind bones, skins, scraps, and half-eaten carcasses. To a wolf with a family to feed, a human camp was not a threat. It was a buffet with terrible security. At first, wolves approached with extreme caution. The bold ones crept closer. The aggressive ones charged and got speared. The terrified ones stayed far away and got nothing. But somewhere in those wolf populations, a few individuals were different. Not tame, not friendly, just slightly less afraid than the others. Slightly more willing to hold their ground near the strange, two-legged creatures with the fire. Those wolves ate better than every other wolf in the forest. And they survived. And they had pups. And those pups inherited their father's slightly reduced fear of humans. And the cycle began again. Not because any human planned it, but because in the ruthless logic of evolution, being a little less afraid of people turned out to be an enormous advantage. Section 3. Evolution does the rest. Generation by generation, the wolves living near human camps were being filtered, not by size, not by strength, not by speed, but by personality. The calmer ones stayed closer. The calmer ones ate more reliably. The calmer ones had more offspring. And without a single human making a conscious decision, the wolves nearest to human camps were slowly becoming something the forest had never produced before. They were becoming domesticated, by accident. And then their bodies started changing too. This sounds like something that would take millions of years. But in 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev decided to watch it happen in real time. Working in Siberia with silver foxes, he ran one of the most extraordinary experiments in the history of biology. Every single generation, he selected only the calmest, least aggressive foxes for breeding. That was the entire experiment. No training, no conditioning, no tricks. Just breed the calm ones. Within a few decades, the foxes were wagging their tails, whining for human attention, licking hands, running to greet the scientists in the morning. But then something nobody expected happened. Their bodies changed. Ears went floppy, snouts shortened, fur developed white patches, tails curled upward, faces became softer and rounder. Select for calm, and you get a completely different animal, which means the first proto-dogs, those wolves who stayed near ancient human camps and slowly lost their edge of fear, may have started looking less threatening long before any human consciously bred them. Softer, rounder, less like a predator, more like something you might actually want near your children. Not pets yet, not wolves anymore either. Something in between, something the world had never seen. Section 4. The partnership that changed everything. Humans noticed the benefits fast. These proto-dogs could hear things before humans did. They could smell a predator from distances that were simply impossible for human senses. They could track prey with a precision that took human hunters years of hard experience to approximate. A wolf dog hanging around your camp was not just a scavenger eating your scraps. It was a living alarm system, a tracker, a guard. Bears approaching. These animals reacted first. Strangers moving through the trees at night. They noticed before any human lookout did. Prey nearby. They could help locate it before a single human had spotted a single track. Once both species started helping each other survive, the relationship did not slow down. It accelerated. This is why dogs hold a place in history that no other animal holds. Not sheep, not goats, not horses, not cattle. Dogs came before all of them, before agriculture, before metal tools, before writing, before everything humans think of as civilization. There was already a dog sleeping beside the fire. And when humans did eventually begin farming, dogs changed again to stay with us. As human diets shifted toward grains, dogs gradually evolved the ability to digest starch far more efficiently than wolves. They rewired their own biology to match ours. They were not just tolerating us, they were adapting to us continuously, voluntarily, for thousands of years. Section 5. What it did to both of us. But this accident did not only change the wolf, it changed us too. When a human looks into a dog's eyes, both species release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical that floods the brain between a parent and a newborn child. This does not happen when humans stare into the eyes of wolves. It does not happen reliably with any other domesticated animal, only dogs. Evolution shaped dogs over tens of thousands of years to trigger the human bonding system. Those famous puppy dog eyes, the raised inner brow, the slightly sad, hopeful expression are not random. Dogs with more emotionally expressive faces received more care from humans across thousands of generations. The expressive faces survived. The blank ones did not. Your dog did not stumble into looking at you that way. It learned your face across 40,000 years. And yet, the relationship came with a cost that is still being paid. Human breeding pushed dog bodies past what evolution ever intended. Pugs struggle to breathe through skulls compressed for aesthetics. Dachshunds develop devastating spinal problems from bodies stretched for appearance. Bulldogs sometimes cannot give birth without surgery. We shaped them to suit us, in some cases past the point of their own well-being. The accident that began with wolves choosing leftover bones at the edge of a fire ended with humans reshaping living animals for their appearance. That is a complicated inheritance. Section 6. The wolf that never left. And yet, the wolf never fully disappeared. When your dog circles before lying down, it may be running a program written before the first human city existed. Wolves flattening grass to make a safe sleeping place. When it buries food it does not need, that is Ice Age hoarding instinct, still running. When it twitches in its sleep, whatever world it is moving through in that dream predates every breed name, every kennel club, every collar it has ever worn. Inside every pampered golden retriever, every coddled French bulldog, every dog in a coat on a cold morning is the shadow of an Ice Age predator that once stood just outside the firelight and made the smallest possible decision to move slightly closer. Section 7. The Close. In Germany, archaeologists found a grave from around 14,000 years ago. A man, a woman, and a dog buried carefully beside them. The dog had suffered a severe illness as a puppy, the kind of illness that in the wild means death. But this dog had survived for weeks, possibly months, which means someone fed it through the illness. Someone kept it warm. Someone decided that this animal was worth spending food and time and energy on, when food and time and energy were things people died without. That is not usefulness. That is not an accident anymore. Nobody invented the dog. Nobody planned it. It began with scraps at the edge of a fire and a few wolves slightly less afraid than the rest. That single tiny difference, just a fraction less fear, set in motion 40,000 years of accidents that produced 900 million dogs on Earth. It produced every breed, every show dog, every rescue dog, every dog that has ever detected cancer or pulled someone from an avalanche or sat patiently beside a child who needed something that did not require words.
And tonight, when your dog exhales that slow breath that means completely safe, completely home,
and settles somewhere near you, that accident is still happening. You have been living alongside ancient software your entire life without reading the source code. Now you have ancient software. Every week, we go back to find out why you are the way you are. If this made you feel something, subscribe. The next one goes even deeper.